me, sir. Forgot your receipt.
Checkout lines. Who needs them?
Have a nice day.
This is the future of e-business.
At first I had some doubt, of course, because you are putting chips in healthy young people. But I think it's the future.
Each tiny chip has a number. A scanner connected to a database can instantly reveal who the person is and much more. Technically, there's no limit to the information the database can hold.
This is the needle with which I'm gonna implant the chip.
The chip itself is a little larger than a grain of rice. It will remain inside Ryone's body for the rest of his life, or until he undergoes surgery to have it removed. Ryone will need an anesthetic before the procedure. The chip is implanted just millimeters below the skin. If it goes in too close to the muscle could be damaged, and Ryone will feel the chip when he moves. If all goes well, he won't even know it's there.
Okay. Get the needle out, and we're ready.
The procedure is over in seconds. And now, it's time to party. Although others have to pay cash at the entrance, when Ryone arrives, his name and number instantly identify him as a VIP member of the club. He makes his way to the VIP deck and uses his implant to buy a drink. The Baja is a glimpse of a not-so-distant future. Already,
Obama is a radical communist, and I think it's becoming clear. That's what I told people in Illinois, and now everybody realizes it's true. He's going to destroy this country. We're either going to stop him, or the United States of America is going to cease to exist.
Is there any, do you still hold regrets against not having long enough time to debate against President Obama?
I don't have any regrets. I went into Illinois. People told me at the time I didn't stand much of a chance of winning. The idea was to bear a true witness. The man is an abomination. He is someone who has actually advocated infanticide, that when babies are the target of abortion, if they happen to escape the abortionist's intention and are born alive, he actually supported the idea that those babies should be set aside to die. That is a man with such a seared conscience, I can't even understand why anybody in their right mind would consider him worthy of political support. That's a violation of conscience that is inconceivable. And even some of the most hardline pro-abortion people in America rejected that abomination, and he did not.
So what does tonight mean when President Obama is as President of the United States? How does that play a role?
That's another question. Is he President of the United States? According to the Constitution, in order to be eligible for president, you have to be a natural-born citizen. He has refused to provide proof that he is, in fact, a natural-born citizen. And his Kenyan relations say that he was born in Nairobi at a time when his mother was too young to transmit U.S. citizenship. So I'm not even sure he's President of the United States. No, that's not a laughing matter. Neither are many of our military people now who are going to court to ask the question, do we have to obey a man who is not qualified under the Constitution? We're in the midst of the greatest crisis this nation has ever seen. And if we don't stop laughing about it and deal with it, we're going to find ourselves in the midst of chaos, confusion, and civil war. It's time we started acting like grown-ups.
How could the policy that President Obama makes in the next couple of years affect activities like tonight?
Sorry, the person you call President Obama, and I frankly refuse to call him that. At the moment, he is somebody who is kind of an alleged usurper, who is alleged to be someone who's occupying that office without constitutional warrant to do so. And he's rushing forward with ideas like destroying our borders, an amnesty bill that will actually have the American taxpayer footing the bill for illegals to come to this country to live, to get housing, and to get everything they want. He is also somebody who has just announced a program that would essentially destroy the validity of existing mortgages and encourage everybody in the country to stop paying their mortgage because the government is going to pay it instead. This is insanity. It's as if we have put insane children and adolescents in charge of our government. And I think we need to ask simple questions. A couple of years ago, we were arguing over every penny in the United States budget, and it was quite clear we didn't have enough money to go around. Well, somebody asked me where we came up with $2 trillion in the course of the last 6 months. Did we wish for it out of the air? Have people gone mad in this country? You don't have that money. We are claiming that a bankrupt government can save a bankrupt banking system. Explain to me how that happens, because I think that's impossible. And the fact that we have just elected an individual who may or may not be qualified, and he presents silly ideas like this and says, let's move forward now, and we're all acting like the laws of economics have been repealed, and we can actually afford to foot the bill with money nobody's got. This is insane. It's got to lead to the collapse of our economy, and it's going to.
Building.
Northside School District is piloting a program in the fall here and at Jay High School, a program that tracks students' movement through the halls and classrooms by radio frequency technology.
They may have been in the nurse's office, the counseling office, vice principal's office, but they were marked absent from the classroom because they weren't sitting in the classroom. So it will help us have a more accurate count of our attendance.
And attendance is everything. The district loses $175,000 a day in state funding because of tardy or absent kids. Tracking the ones that just didn't make it to first period may be a big payoff. And
I hold science in proper esteem, so maybe that gives me a little businesses. And the investments don't always pay off, but when they do, they change our lives in ways that we could never have imagined. Computer chips, GPS technology, the internet, all these things. In the budget I will send to Congress next week, I will propose a significant investment by the National Institutes of Health, DARPA, and what's already happening in the patient's mind. What if computers could respond to our thoughts, or our language barriers could come tumbling down? Or if millions of Americans were suddenly finding new jobs in these fields, jobs we haven't even dreamt up yet because we chose to invest in this project. That's the future we're imagining. That's what we're hoping for. That's why the BRAIN Initiative is so absolutely important, and that's why it's so important that...
So now, forget about clicking the mouse or the remote control. No need for that keyboard no longer. Your brainwaves will do the work. All according to researchers at Intel, the possibility, they say, is not too far off. But there is a catch. You have to implant a chip inside your brain. A good idea? Seth Porges, Associate Editor of Technology for Popular Mechanics, my guest here in studio. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
They're looking, what, 11 years down the road in the year 2020? What are they saying? that they could possibly do?
They're saying that by 2020, we should be able to do simple computer movements like moving a mouse, surfing the web, just by thinking about it.
All right, so I have to go in, and you're going to be my doctor.
I'm going to be a doctor.
And you're going to lay me down on that slab, and you're going to put what inside of my head?
Well, they're saying is chips, and the reason they're saying that is because the way they do it today involves fMRIs. And fMRIs are these massive brain scanning machines, and these scan your brain, and they tell you what part of your brain is in use at any given moment, depending on what you're doing. And what researchers have found that's super, super cool is that when you do things, oftentimes the same part of your brain lights up as when you think about doing it. So what they found is that maybe, just maybe, if I think about moving a mouse across a screen, they can map what happens then and sort of translate that into an actual on-screen movement.
But that's massively complex. You have to figure out what I'm thinking. What word am I imagining? What letter am I imagining? How do you read that in a brain chart?
Well, that's much, much further down the line. What they're talking about now are simple things like moving a mouse from left to right. Actually reading words from your brain, like writing your dissertation telepathically, much, much harder. And the reason for that is because fMRI scans, they're really good at mapping things involving the motor cortex. And that's the part of your brain involved with moving your hands, moving your feet, simple left to right movements. But when it comes to thinking of distinct words, like the difference between the word cat and firehouse, not really good at that. Really, really hard. So then when you get even more complex about thinking out an entire paragraph, entire essay, entire senior thesis, we're talking many, many years down the line.
Do you like this idea?
Oh, it's cool. I mean, who likes typing, right?
Well, it's what we do, man.
It's what we do.
I mean, some people are now predicting already that Americans are going to be sick and tired of depending on this computer interface. They're going to be tired of like finding the device in their pocket, whether it's a BlackBerry or whether it's some sort of cell phone, and this is what's going to lead to revolution.
Well, I'd give us a little more credit than that. I don't think sort of the differences between the human brain and the computer brain,
they all merge together, and we become one, and then it gets really